What is up, my fellow samurai? It's Marsh from Holics here. I saw an article the other day that was titled, Open World Games Are Too Big and Need to Be Smaller. And it had a picture of Ghost of Tsushima, so this immediately grabbed my attention, of course, because this is like my favorite game right now. And in the article, they even reference other large-scale open world games like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed, Spider-Man, and even the newest God of War game. So I thought this would make for a great discussion about the size of the games that we love and if it's time for them to be fundamentally changed. Now, if you could give this video a like, I would greatly appreciate that. This will really help our small channel, and YouTube will push this video to others so they can jump in on this conversation as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, the writer of this article does say that they are really enjoying their time playing Ghost of Tsushima, but they feel like it follows a very similar pattern to games like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, just in terms of how you clear out camps and how you stumble upon enemies on the road, the way you rescue civilians, etc. Now, they also point out that they first noticed these type of patterns in open world games while they were playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and they say that Red Dead was an incredible game during the story mode, and it deserved all the praise that it received and everything like that. But when they reflect back on the game, they actually realize that they spent a lot of time just riding their horse from one place to the next, only to do a small or tedious task, or just to talk to someone and then ride back to the original location. And they would have loved their time with Red Dead even more if their side quests had been more concise and meaningful. They go on to say that they love exploring real and historical locations in games and finding hidden things with rewarding treasures at the end and stuff like that. But what they don't like is hunting down meaningless trinkets and headbands. And that is definitely shots fired at Ghost of Tsushima. And they also don't like climbing identical surveillance towers to uncover more of the map. Now that's another shot, but it's at Spider-Man this time. But they ended up saying that it's all very repetitive and boring, especially when a game forces you to grind through these things to reach the required level for the next story mission. They do at least point out a few games as examples that don't follow the same patterns as most open world games, like GTA 5 for example. They say traveling feels good because you're in a car and it's much more fun, and I definitely understand that, but I feel like GTA is the exception and not the rule, because honestly, how many games are like GTA? Like while you're driving, you could shoot a grenade launcher at stuff, or someone could shoot at you. I mean, you could be chased by the police. I mean, there's just so many random things going on in that game. They also wrote that the last God of War game and the more recent Tomb Raider games are perfect examples of the open world concept scaling back. They wrote that these games are not fully open world and they are not strictly linear. They provide a smaller, varied map that you can still explore at your own leisure without being tied to a specific path. Now, the puzzles and treasure hunts have depth and encourage you to come back later when you're much better at the game. I haven't played the last few Tomb Raider games, but I definitely see what they are saying about the last God of War, because technically the map isn't that big and you're actually in one main area most of the time, but the way they do it is so amazing and it's literally like levels to it. And it's really a great example of how something can be condensed but feel really big. And I'll actually touch on that with Ghost of Tsushima as well. Also, if you haven't played the last God of War game, like, what are you doing? This is literally one of the best games I've played, and I highly recommend it to y'all. It's the perfect place to jump into the series as well, because you don't have to play any of the games before it to know what's going on. Now, be sure to look this up if you want to read the entire article. So to summarize what the writer's point is, they're saying that open world games are becoming increasingly lazy, they are lacking creativity, and can be overly repetitive. So ultimately, they want open world games to be revamped, and I can definitely see where they're coming from. Now, with Ghost of Tsushima, obviously y'all know I love this game, and it's the main thing we cover on this channel, but this did get me thinking about if the game would have been better off with a reduced map size and more unique things to do. So let's examine the map, because it is massive. It's divided out by 3 different parts of the island. We have Izuhara, Toyotama, and Kamiagata. Now, let's say we condense the map by like a third. Now, to be clear, we would still have the section with the snow and the mountains and all that. Everything would just be condensed. So imagine if almost everywhere you traveled, there were more civilians, hidden places to find, and more random encounters that are not listed on the map. So by reducing the amount of empty space the game has and filling it with more engaging activities, I think it would completely change how the game feels while we're exploring. Now, this would also cut out a lot of the mundane parts of horseback travel that the writer mentioned as well. Speaking of those random encounters, one of my favorite unmarked encounters that wasn't on the map was with the swordsman near the ruins of Old Yarkara. So I was riding and I heard this guy say something like, "Hey, aren't you Lord Sakai?" Then he wanted to show me something, and I'm doing air quotes here. So I walked with him and he leads me to an area not far away. And then it's clear he has some prior beef with Jin's uncle, Lord Shimaru. Then like 3 or 4 other guys jump out and they jump me. So I love this type of seemingly spontaneous interaction, and I wanted many more of things like this in the game. So if I had to choose, I would trade a portion of the map for more random and unexpected fights like this. And to be clear, I don't know if it actually works like that during development, but I'm under the assumption that if the map was reduced by a significant size, it would be easier for the developer to add more like random encounters and hidden areas and things like that for us to find. But if you have some experience with this and that's actually not the case, then please let me know in the comments because I'm really curious about this. Speaking of comments, I need to address something real quick. I've noticed comments on YouTube just like randomly disappearing. Normally I get a notification that someone commented on one of our videos and then I just click it and it takes me right to it. But I've noticed since we joined YouTube that sometimes I click it and it doesn't show anything at all. Initially I thought maybe some people are just like erasing their comments, but now I know that's definitely not the case each time. The weirdest example of this was on our lethal versus hard mode video. Someone's comment didn't appear on the video and I didn't receive a notification. I actually ended up seeing it on the YouTube creator section on my laptop. So I responded on there and he was able to respond back, and that was it, or so I thought. By chance, I just noticed on the YouTube creators app on my phone that he did respond, and it was like a whole week ago. So now this chat thread is only on the app on my phone, not the actual video or my laptop anymore. Like how does it work like that? So first, shout out to Kronos for even dealing with all that. And let me know if y'all have noticed your comments disappearing or anything weird, because it seems like this is widespread. It's actually happened to some of my comments as well. And this had been bugging me for a while, so I had to let y'all know. And I'm so curious how many people have been dealing with this already. So this comment is very interesting to me. And we have to talk about the end game in Ghost of Tsushima, because the map doesn't change after you defeat Khotun Khan, which was a big surprise to me. And it's actually kind of odd that after you beat him and you push out the majority of the Mongol forces, you clear out all the camps and all that, the island is the exact same. Now, obviously, I know the war is still going on, but just like the comment said, there are no more bases or places to liberate. So where are all those Mongols coming from? And why aren't there more civilians out and about now? Or like still trying to leave or do something? It's just, the map is the exact same. That brings me back to the Metro article, because I think there's definitely room for creativity and innovation in Ghost of Tsushima and open world games in general. Because when you think about it, I mean, there are tasks that are hella time consuming and repetitive that can lower the fun factor in most open world games. And I think even some minor tweaks like adding more spontaneous interactions can help with the monotony of things. But what do y'all think? Do open world games need to make some serious changes, or am I just tripping? So let me know in the comments below, because I'm really interested to see what y'all think about this. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you, and I truly appreciate y'all watching. If you like this video, let me know by giving it a like, and be sure to jump into the comment section and join the conversation with us. Also, we have some great videos in the pipeline, so be sure to subscribe and turn on noties so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.